Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SearcherCast by Greenville Ghost Tours. My name is Dustin Bays, and I am the director of Truth Searchers Paranormal Investigators, and I will be your host alongside Gabe Mathews, certified paranormal investigator and founder of Truth Searchers Paranormal Investigators. Join Gabe, myself, and our guests as we share paranormal experiences, media, and current events. What evidence will the Truth Searchers find this time?
We are the Searcher Cast. We are live in your ears. We got some paranormal spookiness tonight. Dustin, how are you feeling?
What's up, Gabe? What's up, Searchers? Man, I'm feeling really good. We have a really awesome guest tonight that we'll introduce here in just a little bit. And I'm also, I guess maybe I'm a little sad, maybe a little excited because I was flipping through the Greenville news today, and it seems like there are some new ghosts popping up here in Greenville. And I'll tell you what I'm talking about. I was flipping through and I saw an article in the Greenville News that says Greenville man dies after being crushed by 2,000-pound piece of metal at Easley Company. So apparently a man at a place called New Life Municipal Truck Center. And this is in the Greenville News. This is public information, but a man got crushed by a 2,000-pound piece of metal. The company declined to say anything, but and there's an investigation going on by OSHA, the company, and authorities looking into what happened.
Well, and if anyone needs us to investigate, we could also lay our expertise and kind of get maybe some info directly from the source as to what happened. And I might stop by just on my way around. Obviously, I'm not gonna just get in the parking lot and see if I could use a spirit box or some type of communication device, or maybe bring out the Ouija board. So Greenville, of course, has so many spirits, and just continuing to have a lot of paranormal density. Kind of, it seems like it's been getting denser and denser as time progresses, and this is just one more spirit kind of creating this paranormal density that we have here in Greenville.
Absolutely, and I had another one to add to that density. This is kind of a happy sort of ghost that we're creating, a memorial of the late Chadwick Boseman, who is not from Greenville per se, but he is from the upstate. He's from Anderson.
The Black Panther. I did not know he was
the Black
from
Panther. Yes, he actually went to T.L. Hanna High School, and graduated from there. And at the Southwood Academy of Performing Arts, they have a memorial. They renamed the Performing Arts Center for Chadwick Boseman, in memorial of Chadwick Boseman. So that was those are some of the ghosts here in Greenville that are popping up, new ghosts.
Well, I'm really excited to have our guest tonight, which he's also been a guest on this podcast, and he's also a member of the Truth Searchers. And this is going to be another Cryptid Corner, which is going to be a regular segment, podcast or regular podcast, the Cryptid Corner with Derek Henderson. And myself and Dustin, and we're going to be talking mostly cryptids. I know I like to talk ghosts, but when we have them on, cryptids are part of the paranormal. They are things to investigate, and we go out more. We need to go more often. We were going to go a couple months ago, and it kind of fell through. So I'm hoping to get back out to Blue Ridge Parkway or whatever, and go do some Bigfoot or some other cryptid. In fact, Derek, if you want to come on and discuss some of your current research and what is hot in the cryptid field, what have you been looking into lately?
Welcome to the podcast, Derek Henderson.
What's up, everybody? It's me, Derek Henderson, coming at you with another Cryptid Corner. What's that you were looking at? Cryptid news? That's what you're looking for? Well, let me tell you. Do you guys hear this? Mothman now has a tramp stamp. Not the real Mothman. I want to be real clear on that one. But somebody actually went to the Mothman statue recently and they tattooed a tramp stamp onto Mothman. I also got to say, it's too bad Easley doesn't have its own Mothman because he's known for coming out and warning of bad events, you know? And he could have warned of that tragic event that you opened this great podcast with.
Interesting thought. What does Easley have any cryptids? I haven't done much investigation in Easley, ghosts, paranormal or otherwise. I know that there's been some UFO sightings in Easley, but do you know any local Easley cryptids?
I mean, I think the Wampus would be the closest thing that's kind of in that area. Uh, there's honestly, if there's an unexplored patch of land, there's probably something to be explored. And that's the way I kind of like to look at the world, kind of the way I like to look at the
It
wildlife
is
around me.
pretty close. Maybe we could go do an Easley, woods exploration, or get some waterways and see what's going on in the underwater.
Oh yeah, I'm always itching to get out. I got a tent. I got to break in. So
Last time we didn't find anything, and it was kind of a waste of a weekend, for the most part. I mean,
well, I don't think I wouldn't call it a waste. Sometimes you go out there, you don't necessarily find the evidence that you're looking for, but you find evidence of other things, and you can. It's a numbers game. You can't always be going out and pulling back the filled in concrete Bigfoot feet. You can't always be going out and pulling back the moth feathers, the thunderbird feather, whatever it is that you're looking for. Sometimes you got to just get out there and just be around where
I'm
they
just saying,
are seen.
Dustin and I have been making a list of all these like haunted locations that we want to investigate to find, spirits, ghosts, and when we
Yeah.
take a weekend or a couple days to go investigate, your next new craze, we're not spending time on ghosts, and that's it's one thing if we're finding the evidence. That's all. And so last time, you kind of promised. I don't know if it was a promise. You like that. You said that this area, and it was around the Blue Ridge Parkway. We were looking for Bigfoot, right? You said that there was many
Yeah.
reportings there, and that you were like pretty sure. Yeah,
So
you were
many.
pretty sure we'd find evidence that night, and we didn't find it not only that night but the whole entire weekend. So,
No, but I mean, I taught you how to make squash and tinfoil bags around a fire. I think that's a valuable
it,
skill for if you're out. I mean, what happens if you're in a haunted house and you get locked in by a ghost and you have to make a bonfire and survive and there's only
yeah,
squash
and
in
the
the
squash was
fridge?
pretty good. It was pretty good
Uh,
squash. I don't know what kind of.
and speaking of squash, sometimes you can't always find a sass squash. You just have to enjoy the squash. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, which cryptobotany is an also a good field that I feel is understudied, and I'd like to do more research on the plants, because I don't know if you remember when I was down in Florida, I sent you that video of that Florida jungle. Um, yeah, I did a little
Yeah.
investigation down in the Florida jungle, and found some cryptobotanical plants that were not native to Florida, and it's like I think more research needs to be done in cryptobotany. That's all.
It could. I mean, also, there's a lot of skunk ape sightings in Florida, and I think that's a valuable thing to maybe spend more resources on. Plants are plants; they're not going anywhere. But animals, you have to track. You gotta find them. They're not going to be stationary.
This actually kind of raises a question here in my head. Gabe, you're talking about like, oh, we're going out and we're doing these investigations, we're not finding evidence, and Derek brings up a good point, right there. Like there is a finite amount of resources that we can spend kind of researching, tracking, investigating these cryptids. So I have an idea. Maybe it's in the vein of the NCAA tournament, which Greenville hosts the NCAA women's tournament. And if you are in town for the NCAA women's tournament and you would like to walk around Greenville and hear some ghost stories, please check out our sponsor, Greenville Ghost Tours, while you're in Greenville. But in the vein of the NCAA March Madness, we are going to do a March Madness style bracket of all of the cryptids that we could think of. Gabe, you put the legwork into this, so
Well,
set
with
set
some
us up
help,
here.
yeah, I will say a lot of these cryptids I didn't know, so I reached out to Derek to kind of help me fill it in. But I did kind of start creating a little bracket. So I don't know any of these, and I'm very much into brackets. As we all kind of filled out our NCAA bracket, and my bracket's doing pretty good. I had Baylor going pretty far. Who'd you have in yours, Dustin?
Oh, I haven't done a bracket since college.
Well, okay, so
So
this is actually gonna post after, and we kind of all did brackets. So if you could just here, like maybe pick a team and then say you pick
okay.
UConn, say Connecticut, and
no,
say,
no, no. I'll go with I'm a Florida native, so I'm gonna go with U of F all day.
yeah,
The
but
last time they won basketball was 2008, I think.
yeah, but they lost already, second round. Well, let's go ahead and get into the bracket. So we do have the play-in matchup. So I think we'll start with the play-in matchups. So you have to make the round of 32. So the very first matchup that we have is ski walkers versus shadow figures. So I don't know what a ski walker is. Do they have skis, or like are they in the snow region of?
Yeah, so I do believe that was a mishap on my end. That should be skinwalkers.
Okay, because you sent me like a list of creatures that weren't on here, and it said ski
no,
walker.
I know. I was typing it on my phone, and
Okay.
I might have just missed.
Well, I know
yeah,
I know
I'm
what
sorry.
I know what a skinwalker is. I thought it was ski walker. So
No,
already,
that would be no.
yeah.
There's not.
Yes.
To my knowledge, it's not a ski walker.
There's
I
not.
mean, maybe a Yeti.
Well, I was thinking, if you went to Colorado or something and skiing, that there'd be some type of creature that would have skis that kind of would ski walk down the slope.
Maybe like a zombie that's died in an avalanche or something.
Yeah. But I guess this is Skinwalkers, which we know Skinwalker Ranch, and that's a bigger one. I might not have had it in the play-in round because I thought it was a lower tier, like, unknown thing. But okay, well, what's your thoughts on Shadow Figure versus Skinwalker? What?
Well, out of these, I feel like you kind of were also trying. I mean, isn't a shadow figure? It's pretty much just a ghost.
Right. That's just why I'm going to choose it. Choose a Shadow Figure. Right? Is that?
Well, yeah, I guess, but I mean, I'm gonna go with the Skinwalker, which is like a classic.
Okay.
I feel like you were just trying to set this one up to get your shadow people, shadow people in there.
Yeah. Well, well, it's good that we have three, so that we have a tiebreaker here. What's going to move on to the next round, Dustin? Is it Skinwalker or is it Shadow Figure?
When I'm looking at Skinwalkers, I'm looking at shadow figures. Growing up, I played a lot of Kingdom Hearts, and so shadow figures makes me think of Heartless, so I gotta go shadow figures.
Hell yeah.
I mean, but that's just like a goat. This is a cryptid. Okay. No, it's my fault. I should have just spelled Skinwalkers right. I can't get too upset. Yeah. No, sorry. It would have been probably in a better matchup than against.
Okay, well, let's go into the next play-in round. We got giant octopus versus giant squid. So these are actually, we know what an octopus is, we know what a squid is, but these ones are actually a species that is way bigger than your typical size of your octopus and squids. And you've seen them in literature, you've seen them probably in cartoon things. But these ones are so you know what they are. What's your thoughts, Derek?
I mean, I'm going to have to go with octopus all the way, giant octopus. It's got 2 extra arms,
Mm-hmm.
It can be wrestling the 6 arms of the squids, and then it has 2 more arms to,
and
it can be frying an egg with one.
My initial thought was squid. I could be
other.
talked into the octopus. But I don't know, just the giant squid. I kind of think of what's that one movie that Zack Snyder directed?
The Justice League?
There's the graphic novel that's really big. That's Alan Moore graphic novel.
Oh, is it The Watchmen? Was that
Zack
the
Snyder? Watchmen. So I read the book, and spoilers. The end has a giant squid. and it wasn't in the movie, which kind of, I love the Zack Snyder movie, but like they didn't have the giant
Yeah.
squid. The whole time I was looking forward to that giant squid. And I mean, I think the giant squid ending is a trope that's not used in Hollywood enough. And I think that having your movie end with a giant squid is just the way to go. And
Didn't
therefore I'm choosing giant squid.
isn't that how Pirates of the Caribbean 2 also ended?
Yeah, see, it's a good ending, and I can't remember what was the
Is a kraken a squid or an octopus, or is it just its own thing?
yeah,
I've seen
Unleash the
Kraken.
Kraken.
It I feel like Krakens can come in all forms because yeah, Unleash the Kraken is from the Titans movie. Remember the Titans?
Remember the Titans? Unleash the Kraken. Remember the Titans? It's similar for sure. Yeah. I don't know if I saw that movie though. So yeah, I'm going squid. You're going octopus. Also, what was the movie with the Suicide Squad? Didn't that end with like a giant squid or some giant squid like thing?
I think that was a starfish.
Yeah, starfish. It's close to a squid, so I think that's a giant squid ending. I think we can count that. So we at least came up with 3 movies that have the giant squid ending. So therefore, I think giant squid is my choice. Dustin, you again are the tiebreaker. What do you think?
Yeah, this is a hard one. Both are fantastic, especially because giant squid recently confirmed to be real, right? Like, so that is obviously a huge win in the cryptid community. Now, octopus are intelligent creatures. They are potentially alien life forms on this earth. So between the two, I think I'm gonna go giant octopus on this one, just because they are intelligent and also potentially could be aliens. But that's a hard one. Giant squid is also
All right.
man.
Yeah, it
That's why
sucks. It sucks.
they haven't been found out yet.
We already have a big creature going down in the play-in round. We're not even in the first round. So the next one is the
I mean, we lost
Igapogo versus Ogopogo. And these are both lake monsters from Canada. And I can't remember the lakes that each one of them is in. Derek, do you happen to know which lakes Igapogo and which lake that Igapogo is in and which lake that Ogopogo is in? And also, if you can figure, do you know what genders these are? Do they have genders? Are they genderless? Igapogo, Ogopogo, and again, the winner of this matchup does play Nessie, Loch Ness Monster. So this is a lake monster for kind of bracket. But yeah, can you fill us in?
Yeah, so the Ogopogo is in Lake Simcoe in Ontario, and the Ogopogo is in Lake Okanagan, which is in British Columbia.
Okay.
So they're a little bit far apart from each other, but Ogopogo has some nicknames like Bessie and Kelly at the end of it, so it kind of I would think that would imply that it's more of a female. And then the Ogopogo would obviously have to be the male counterpart. Maybe they're not kept together because they want to keep the lineage, only when it's time to breed a new pogo.
Well, I'm going to go with Ogopogo just because I love that every other letter is an O. And I just think it looks like visually stunning if you kind of put the letters out there. The I kind of ruins just the whole pattern that's going for. And also it's a what's that word where the palindrome. So it's the same forward and backwards, whereas Igapogo is not. So I do like Ogopogo. So I think that's the clear choice here, Ogopogo, and I think we'll all agree on that one, right?
Actually, I do agree with you on that one.
Great.
Yeah, I do. I would go with Ogopogo over Igapogo.
Which one was East Coast? Which one was Ontario?
Ontario is not the East Coast, and so that's going to be the Ogopogo.
Ogopogo. Okay.
The Ogopogo is West.
All right. Well, I was. It's not. It's superfluous at this point, but I was gonna go Ogopogo.
All right, so Ogopogo moves on. In our last playing game, we got the Flatwords Monster versus the Honey Island Swamp Monster, and I know neither about these, so I don't know, Derek, could you maybe fill us in, and then I could use the words that you say to kind of have something to go off of. I guess I like honey and I like islands, so I guess I'm leaning towards Honey Island Swamp Monster instead of Flat Woods.
Yeah, so the Flatwoods Monster is kind of like an alien that's been sighted around the woods of West Virginia. It's featured in one of the Fallout games as one of the monsters you can fight in that. They kind of make it more alien and actually kind of give it an alien thing. We don't know if it is alien. It could be just supernatural or a ghost. It's tends to have like a purplish glow, and it's found in flatwoods of West Virginia. The Honey Island Swamp Monster has the nickname of a Cajun Sasquatch, and it's going to be kind of more like your Creole, like a very southern swampy
I'm just
Sasquatch.
picturing like a Creole Sasquatch, just like with the overalls, like with one popped off, right? And maybe he's got some like beads around his neck or something.
But yeah, I'm definitely going with Flatwoods Monster based on what you said, because it could be an alien, it could be a ghost, and I'm more interested in that than doing
Oh,
like
that's
some
fair. Yeah,
Sasquatch knockoff.
but he's not a knockoff. He's just probably in the same family.
It could be a Sasquatch itself. Then it just happens to be a Sasquatch that's in Honey Island's swamp.
I think a lot of them are the same species, just like regional variants.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense. We talked about this before, and it's like
Yeah.
if you guys can just kind of make it a little more clear and kind of figure it out, like what is this creature, and kind of eliminate all these other names and just kind of focus on one species.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like how you have different types of cats. You have tabby cats, alley cats, black cats. They're different types of like Sasquatch or Bigfoot type creatures. You got Yetis, you got your Honey Island swamp monsters, you got your skunk apes. They're all the same thing. It's just like a different variant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So I'm going Flatwoods Monster, and you're going what for this one?
I will also go Flatwoods Monster on this one. A big fan of the Squatches, but there's a lot on this list that are probably going to be higher up, and I don't need to just have a whole family of Squatches at the end. So,
and that's going to be our first 3 for 3. I'm also going Flatwoods Monster.
All right, great. So then we get to go to the first round then, and we're going to start in the upper left quadrant and just go Bigfoot versus shadow figures. Do you guys have any thoughts on this?
This is a hard one. I mean, we fought for shadow figures there, but I mean, Bigfoot's the OG, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go shadow figures because in my line of work, as a paranormal investigator, I have countless clients that have seen and find shadow figures, and I've found evidence of different shadow figures, and I've never once in my life ever found evidence of Bigfoot. So this is an easy choice for me. So I'm going to go with shadow figures.
I mean, I think Bigfoot would be the obvious choice, but I mean, obviously, everyone's got opinions, but Bigfoot's like the cryptid. You have Bigfoot.
Well, I lost out on this. We'll allow Bigfoot to move on to the next round. And just moving on real quick, then we got Kraken versus the Water Leaper. And I don't know anything about the Water Leaper. I do know Kraken. I mean, Unleash the Kraken, and there's a popular alcohol, which I'm not normally one to partake in alcohol consumption due to its propensity to cause behavioral changes in addition to lessen mental awareness, all while lowering your body's natural protection from evil spirits. But I have had this liquor once, and it was pretty good. So I mean, for me, Kraken. But if you can fill me in on what a Water Leaper is, maybe that will change my mind.
So a Water Leaper is a smaller creature, much smaller than a Kraken. It's going to look kind of like a frog with bat wings. It's from Welsh mythology.
Yeah, well, that shit's lame. So Kraken for sure.
Yeah, well, up against the Kraken, yeah, that was just kind of a given. I think obviously the Kraken wins this one.
Yeah, okay. Kraken all the way.
Kraken, okay, all for Kraken. All right. Well, our next matchup is the Jersey Devil versus a Barhest. Did I spell that right, or do you have a typo? Is it called something else, or is it a Barhest?
Oh, I do believe that it is a typo.
Oh, okay. What is it then?
It is Barguest. There should be a G there. I'm so sorry. Again, I was on my phone when I did this. I need to be more prepared if I'm going to be doing bracket sending to you.
What is a Barguest?
Yeah. So, it's like a big black dog.
Okay.
That
kind of
hangs out in
like
a bar.
well, no,
Right
I
next
would
to
think
the
of kind of
cryptid.
like in Harry Potter, because it's not like it's scarier than like a normal dog, you know?
Gotcha.
Okay,
Like
and so
it's
Scary Dog versus the Jersey Devil, and
Yeah.
the Jersey. Yeah, can you describe the Jersey Devil a little more? Because
I feel like there's a lot of different descriptions of the Jersey Devil, but obviously found in the New Jersey area. It's got kind of bat wings. Some say it has like a goat head or hoofed feet. A lot of different like animal parts kind of put together, and it's known for terrorizing the state of New Jersey.
okay, because my recollection of the Jersey Devil is from the real Ghostbusters, and also I believe Extreme Ghostbusters also had a Jersey Devil episode. And it's 100% different than what you just described. So,
What was it that they thought it was?
well, I'm actually pulling up a picture of it's a winged like bat creature. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I just it said it had like large bat wings and like
Yeah,
a goat
it's
head.
red. Okay. Well, it doesn't have a goat head. I'm pulling it up now. Um,
my
and
thought
it
was
was
that
Extreme Ghostbusters that has the Jersey Devil, and this was a good episode. I remember. Not a goat head though. But
I mean, it says from what I'm looking up like other interpretations of it, and I mean they do seem to agree that it has a horse or goat like head.
Okay, well, it's not a horse head either on the Extreme Ghostbusters version of the Jersey Devil, but I guess their version is a little different. Nonetheless, I think Jersey
They're
Devil's
not
cooler.
cryptid experts; they're ghost hunters.
Right. Well, it's a
Yeah.
fictional thing anyway.
Well, not. There's just
But
not
yeah.
as much evidence.
Well, nonetheless, Jersey Devil is cooler than a Barhest, like some stupid dog. So I'm gonna go Jersey Devil for this one.
I'm a hockey fan, and there's the Jersey Devils as a hockey team, so I'm going Jersey Devils.
All right.
I do.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I will go with the Jersey Devil. He's more of a traditional than the bar guest. So
okay, and that was a 3 seed versus a 6 seed. The Barhest. So the higher seed does move on, which brings us to our next one. It's a 2 versus 7. 2 seed is the Skunk Ape versus the number 7 Wampus. And I know you talk about skunk apes and they're very popular, but I talk about Wampus on almost every Greenville Ghost tour I go on. And so I'm very biased on this one, so I'm actually going to go with the Wampus.
Uh, I mean, I think the Wampus is a locally known cryptid, but I don't think it's really a national favorite. So I think Skunk Ape is going to be where I go on this one. Uh, I mean, one, just picturing, I know he's not skunk related, it's just from his coloration, obviously. But, picturing a giant skunk walking around eating bananas is pretty funny to me. But, I get wanting to go with a more regional and local friendly option.
And not gonna lie, I did choose a couple regional ones. I mean, this is a podcast sponsored by the Greenville Ghost Tours, so I figured it was a good idea to put some regional cryptids on this bracket.
Right.
Yeah, well, for all the reasons that Gabe mentioned, I have to also go with the Wumpus.
Woo!
Okay.
So we got our first quadrant. Then we'll move down to the next one, which is the Chupacabra versus the giant octopus. I gotta think about it for a second. Do you guys have any thoughts right off the bat?
I mean, octopus are one of my favorite animals, but I'm gonna have to give it to the chupacabra personally. Chupacabra, again, I want to go with that classic cryptid feel. I want to go with when I think of a list of cryptids, what are the first ones that come to mind? And chupacabra is obviously one of the most famous. I mean, bleeding all the goats dry in Mexico. It's known. It's actually out of it's a Puerto Rican originally, but it's kind of gotten its own whole region again that it's known for living in, and that who knows where you'll find it.
I'm gonna go with giant octopus. I still love that this is an intelligent creature. I love that it could be an alien potentially, and being an island from the islands. I have the tie to the water, so I'm gonna go with giant octopus on
Okay,
this one.
that leaves the tiebreaker up to me. And actually, after hearing everything and thinking about it more, well, first off, I'm really disappointed that the giant squid lost the giant octopus because I think giant squid would be a shoe-in to continue on in this part. But for all the reasons why I love giant squid, you could just replace it with a giant octopus, and we could have a giant octopus ending of a movie. I mean, a giant squid's cooler, but giant octopus would be really cool. And I've never seen a chupacabra So I'm gonna go giant octopus on this one.
I mean, there's a lot of these we haven't seen, but
Right.
okay.
Well, I've seen octopuses.
Right, but that doesn't. Yeah,
Octopi.
I thought we are going for cryptids, not animals. Sorry, but it's
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
I've seen some pretty big one. I just haven't seen one as big as what we're talking about. But it's pretty easy to imagine. But our next one is, help me if I'm pronouncing this right, but the bunyip versus
Bunyip.
the bunyip versus the beast
Yes.
of Bray Road.
Yes. So the bunyip is an Australian cryptid, but it kind of has different looks every time it's been brought up. Some people kind of give it like warthog animal traits, some kind of hyena types. It's a four-legged creature by far. The beast of the Bray Road is from a sighting in Elkworth, I believe, Wisconsin, and it's a wolf-like creature that has been sighted. So both of these are kind of scarier dogs.
All right, well, I'll go with the wolf then instead of the hyena.
I'm actually going to go with Beast of Bray Road. I like it. I like the fact that it's from Wisconsin.
And Derek, what did you go with on that one?
I was going to go with the bunyip because I'm a big fan of anything out of Australia. I feel like that's the closest, we get to natural cryptids, but that's fine.
Okay, so we're going to move with Beast of Bray Road then. So moving on, the devil monkey versus the thylacine. Yeah. I don't know the devil monkey, but thylacine's pretty cool.
Devil monkey are these large baboon creatures that were sighted outside of Flagstaff, Arizona.
What's a thylacine? I've never heard of that.
I think thylacines are like pretty real. Like you know, like
I thought it was
zoos,
a Tasmanian devil. I don't know if they're still real. I think they're extinct.
So I think we'll go thylacine.
Well, I mean, both could be real. Why? I don't understand what we're supposed to be picking here. Are we picking the most real, or are we picking the best?
I guess it's the best.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to like persuade you to pick something else. I just, you just if you start putting real animals on here, well, not real, but you got me saying it. But if you start putting animals that are, in the scientific dictionary,
it's a Tasmanian tiger or a Tasmanian wolf, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I pulled up a picture. Allegedly extinct, but there has been recent sightings of the animal that are leading people to think that it's.
Thylacines are cool, right, Derek?
Yeah. That was
okay. Thylacine will move on. Devil monkeys are, I don't know.
And they're not cool. They're big baboons that attack people, but.
Yeah, so the next one is the Snallygaster, number 2 seed, versus number 7 seed, the South Carolina Black Panther. So believe it or not, in South Carolina, there's reported sightings of Black Panthers out and about, yet science has not been able to prove its existence. In Traverse Rest, every couple months, there's a report of a Black Panther, and I actually had a guy who came on my tour that said when he was a student at Clemson, there was a Black Panther out on the prowl on campus, but they weren't able to find it. So a Black Panther, believe it or not, is a cryptid in South Carolina. Yet there's reported all times. And the Snallygaster, I listened to a podcast, but I can't remember quite what it is. Can you describe the Snallygaster, Derek?
Yeah, Snallygaster is a bird reptile hybrid creature. Kind of a long snake-like body. It usually has one eye, long forked tongue, and bird wings. They do have. This is also another cryptid that's featured in the Fallout game, but they do a very poor job of portraying it. I don't actually agree with what they do. They kind of make it more of a like a mutant monster thing when it's really just like a snake with bird wings and bird legs and one eye. More of a flying creature than a land type.
So similar to the Jersey Devil, the fictional media kind of gets the actual cryptid wrong.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times they like to punch it up for the likes and the views.
And this is always the problem I have with fiction versus nonfiction. Nonfiction's kind of the real, right? And in fiction, they kind of take sometimes what's real and kind of just make it nonsense. And we don't like to deal with fiction, especially with our cryptids.
Right.
Yeah, in fact, that might be the reason I go with the Black Panther, because it's totally real, and there's definitely like reports of them all the time in South Carolina.
I mean, I'm gonna have to go with the Snallygaster because again, it's more of a cryptid than just an animal on the list. It could have. I mean, who knows? Maybe it was just a big black cat that they were chasing, or it could have been maybe an animal that got loose from a zoo, or just a a lynx or something. But
Well, that's an interesting one. So animals exist. We know, like Black Panthers, you can find them in zoos.
yeah.
But I'm talking about like actually out and about. But if a Black Panther escaped from a South Carolina zoo and was out and about, would that be a cryptid?
I don't think so, because it's just a Black Panther that's out and about loose.
Well,
It's not like
but
there's
that's
nothing
but that's
paranormal or
but there's it hasn't been scientifically proven that Black Panthers exist in South Carolina, so that is a cryptid.
I don't. That's not really. A cryptid has to have a little more to it than just. There's like
Oh,
folklore
no.
and
May I break this tie?
Yeah.
Go for it, Dustin.
So these are two very good contenders, and I'm gonna piggyback off of something that Gabe was saying as far as them being a cryptid. Panthers did once roam lower Appalachia and have since gone extinct. So there have been no known panthers to live. There's been no population of panthers living in Appalachia for quite some time. Therefore, making them a legend and making them a cryptid. That's why. And so, like the American chestnut, I hope to see the Panthers return to Appalachia. So for that reason, I'm going Black Panthers. And the Carolina Panthers is a story, it's our local sports team here. So
and we just talked about Chadwick Boseman earlier on the podcast, Black Panther. So I like that pick.
Boom. That
All
is
right.
Chadwick Boseman. Is that what we were talking? Did we just vote for Chadwick Boseman?
Yeah, I think so. He's from
he is the South Carolina Black Panther. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
yeah. I guess we're just doing extinct animals. So it's like, we just have dinosaurs and woolly mammoths coming up.
Our next one is the Loch Ness Monster Nessie versus Ogopogo, two lake creatures.
Yeah, so I mean, Ogopogo, as we talked about, Canadian lake monster, but Nessie, I'm gonna have to go with Nessie because it's again a classic cryptid. When you think cryptid, you think Bigfoot, you think chupacabra. You don't think, dog that runs down the street. You don't think giraffe that maybe died off. You think of.
But again, Derek, this isn't most popular. This is best cryptid.
Best cryptid.
And Ogopogo is a palindrome. And I just can't get over how good it looks typed out on the screen. Also just flows off the tongue. Loch Ness Monster, Ogopogo. Ogopogo just flies off the tongue. So I do like Ogopogo. I'm going to go with it. Plus, Loch Ness Monster is always trying to get that tree 50. And I ain't having any of that nonsense. So I'm going Ogopogo all day.
Okay.
Dustin, you're the tiebreaker. What you got?
With great power comes great responsibility. And for all the reasons Gabe Mathews loves Ogopogo, I also love Ogopogo. Loch Ness Monster, though, for all the reasons that Derek mentioned, it's a classic. I do have Scottish roots. This is a 1 seed versus a 9 seed. This is a big matchup here. I got to go with the classic, though. Loch Ness Monster's moving on for me.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. The Map Inguari versus the Manananggal. And the Manananggal actually is featured in one of my hit song that you can learn the dance to. Go to our YouTube channel at Truth Searchers on YouTube. Go to the instructional video, learn all the monster dances, and the Manananggal March is one of the dances. Now, the Manananggal has is a female that can actually have her torso kind of go and fly off, a winged creature that basically has no legs. So, it's actually kind of funny to think about a march with a creature that's winged that has no legs. So that's why I used it in my song, because it's kind of clever, funny, I thought, to have that. So with that, I'm going to go Manananggal, and I don't even know what a mapping quarry is. Could you tell us what that is, Derek?
Mapping Glory is kind of a cyclopsian Bigfooted creature. Like, think of like Sasquatch type, airy ape like, but with one eye.
Cool. So yeah, I think Manananggal is moving on, right, Dustin?
Yeah, absolutely. Got to go Manananggal.
Okay. And moving on, the Dover Demon versus the Owl Man. Derek, and we need your help on learning what these are.
The Dover Demon.
Guess?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, you can guess on which one.
I mean, I can guess that an owl man is kind of like a man that looks like an owl.
The Dover Demon is it's from Massachusetts, and think of it kind of like the grays that you think of when you think of aliens.
Yeah, yeah, the gray
Yeah,
aliens for sure.
this is gonna be very similar in style to a gray looking. It's like kind of like a creepy little guy with long fingers. He's got a big old head. He's been green or gray, different colors, but it kind of he's kind of like a Boston gray.
Okay, and then the other one.
The Owl Man, like you guessed, is basically like a large owl person.
Where does he kind of reside or said to reside?
The Owl Man, I think DC is one of the most reported locations for him.
Okay, well, I could drive there, so I think I'm going to go owl man.
Yeah, I would love to join you and go owl man hunting. There's also some sightings of an owl man from Cornwall in the UK. So I mean, maybe maybe it's the same one that's flown across the ocean. I don't know, but it's how far can owls fly if they're man shaped?
Well, I don't know why you think it flew. Why couldn't it just like transport, perhaps?
Yeah, it'd be probably hard for an owl man to get a passport, and then he'd have to get through TSA. So flying for an owl man is probably difficult.
Ha! I like that joke.
Thank you. Proud of it.
So I'm going owl man.
Oh, I'm gonna go with the Denver demon or the Dover demon. I'm
Okay.
sorry, personally.
So Dustin, again, you're the
Man.
it seems to be a regular occurrence on this podcast. We might just have Dustin pick them all.
Yeah, right. I'm going owl man. I like a good owl man there. That seems fun to me.
Hell yeah. All right. The next one is the Yeti, a number 2 seed versus number 7, the Shmooney. So the Shmooney I actually feature on my tour, and it is a combination animal that consists of Bob Shoemaker is a local author. He said that this creature is fictional, but I believe that he saw this creature out and about and began writing fictional children's stories about the Shmooney. And his Shmooney consists of 7 animals, and they are the bobcat, the bear, the beaver, the rabbit, the raccoon, the deer, and the skunk. Now his Shmooney has 7 animals, but I consider Shmooney to be, kind of any combination animal in the upstate that, usually about yay big, but, a deer with rabbit ears, we'd allow that to be called a Shmooney if we could. But I had a guy who sent me a video of what looked like to be a raccoon in a tree, but he said it had deer hooves. So a raccoon with deer hooves is a Shmooney. And again, this is the South Carolina's literacy mascot, teaching children to read, cryptid related. There's a mural in Simpsonville with the Shmooney on the wall. If you have any kids in your life, buy them the Shmooney trilogy, buy them Shmooney dolls. I actually have a doll here that I can show you all. And while I'm doing that, Derek, you want to talk about the Yeti?
Yeti is obviously a well-known cryptid, also known as the Abominable Snowman. He's kind of like the cold version of Bigfoot. A lot of sightings in the Himalayas. Large mountainous regions. Tends to be even we see Luke fight in a Yeti type monster in Star Wars fame. So I feel like the Yeti. I mean, Shmooney again is a local favorite. I almost feel like I'm being a bad local for wanting to pick Yeti over the Shmooney. Look, it's adorable. But I am gonna have to go Yeti as my pick again because I'm looking for the most classic overall, best cryptid feel.
Yeah, and I mean this is a 2 seed versus 7, so it'd be a huge upset. The Shmooney wins, but I am biased. I have to go with Shmooney.
Once again, following on me here. I obviously love the Shmooney for all the reasons that Gabe mentioned earlier. Yeti, though, I feel like has become more than just a cryptid. It's a cup. It's a microphone. So just for the branding that Yetis have put into this world, you haven't seen a Yeti with your eyes, but man, if you don't feel their presence and their branding. So for that, I got to go Yeti.
Is that the same company?
These Yetis are by a company called Blue that makes microphones.
It's weird to me to pick your cryptid based on a company that has nothing to do with the cryptid. But moving on, we got Mothman versus Flatwoods Monster. And as much as I just learned about the Flatwoods Monster and all that stuff, I got to go Mothman. It's classic. It's tried and true. And Derek and I have been talking about going to the Mothman Festival for years. Hopefully we will go there soon and actually do an investigation on Mothman. As much as I talk shit about investigate cryptids, Mothman is one of the best and one of the most easily documented cases that have multiple reportings. It's distinct to a certain area. Mothman is the great.
Yeah, Mothman. Again, both of these are. It's funny. Are both from West Virginia. Um, Mothman though has easily takes the cake from me. I mean, multiple sightings. It's saved and warned of natural disasters. It's such a classic. And now, like I brought up in the beginning, sporting that tat. Mothman's been inked up. He's a cool guy. How can you not want to be, have Mothman as one of your top cryptids?
3 for 3, Mothman.
All right. Moving on, we got the Beast of Bodmin Moor versus the Beast of Gedavdan. Givaudan.
The Beast of Badman Moor is, think of like a black cat, but it's a little bit larger, kind of like a leopard or like a smaller tiger of black coloring. That's what the Beast of Bodmin Moor is looking like. The Beast of Gavaudan is more of like a canine type creature, like a large, scary dog or wolf.
So it's the dog versus cat is what we're
I guess
coming down to
yeah. Just kind of like scarier versions of both. I'm realizing how many you see them separately and you don't think of them as the same thing, but there's a lot of cryptids that kind of fall into just large dog and large cat category.
And which one are you going to go with?
I would like to go with the Beast of Badminton Moor. One sounds like badminton, more badminton. It's a fun game. But jokes aside, Beast of Badminton Moor, it's a large like black cat, and I think that's very spooky, very creepy. Kind of has more of a better cryptid feel. Big dogs are big dogs, but I'm a big fan of large black cats.
What do you got, Dustin?
I'm a dog person, so I gotta go Beast of Gavaudan, or how we were saying that there. But yeah, if it's between big scary cat, big scary dog, I'm gonna go big scary dog.
Yeah, and I think I'm more of a dog person than a cat person as well, but that actually makes me just more terrified of cats. So I'm going to go Beast of Bodmin Moor. This will be the first one that Derek and I have agreed on, I believe. Wow. That Dustin had. No, we had some 3 for 3s, but this is the first one that we went against Dustin.
I've been the first. This is my first odd man out. Yeah, absolutely.
But moving on, we got the folk monster.
Yeah, the folk monster
versus the lizard man.
The folk monster.
You want to talk about the folk monster?
Yeah, it's also
known as
the folk monster. Is also a boggy creek monster or a swamp stalker. It's again a Bigfoot-esque monster. I guess there's kind of three big categories that cryptids tend to fall into. You got big dogs, big cats, big foots. But this is
and also animal men, which lizard man is one. And actually, I talk about this because the Lee County lizard man, a couple hours from here in South Carolina, and the Scape or Swamp in the 80s, a lizard man kind of escaped from the swamp and kind of ran into some guy's car, kind of damaging the car, kind of caused him to swerve off the side of the road. And there's actually in the Cotton Museum, there's an exhibit on the Lee County Lizard Man, as well as every year there is the Lizard Man Stomp, which we've been talking about going to this festival. Mm-hmm. It's a yearly festival in Lee County. But yes, lots of evidence of this. And the guy who encountered the Lizard Man, his famous quote for the quote, "I'm not saying it was a lizard man, I'm saying it was a lizard man." And so that's his quote. But yeah, this creature they've been reports all over the upstate, South Carolina, including the upstate of lizard men. So it is kind of local to South Carolina cryptid. And as much as I want to pick the fuck monster, I probably am going to pick lizard man because it's a local cryptid.
Yeah, honestly, there's so many things that lizard men can refer to. You've got that. I've been playing the Spider-Man game lately, and Dr. Connors is involved. Spoiler alert: he's the lizard in Spider-Man's, all of them. And also think about the reptilian people that may or may not run all of society in the world that we know. They could be, are they lizard people that have better brains than the lizard men that get out and are feral? So I honestly think lizard men would take the cake on this one too as a better cryptid. Funk Monster is again another Bigfoot type, but at the end of the day, they're all gonna have to go up against the Bigfoot himself, you know. And I feel like we're just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, I'm with these guys. Lizard Man all the way. Lee County Lizard Man being local cryptid. Love it.
All right, bye bye, fuck monster. All right, moving on. Next, we got the number 2 seeded Wendigo versus the number 7 seed Greenville Troll. Now, the Greenville Troll is actually, a local cryptid, 640 South Main Street. There is a woman who would go up and down the stairs in there, and once you get to about the second or third step, when carrying items, she would trip and fall. And this happened to her over and over and over again. So she actually contacted a local psychic medium who told her that there's a creature that lives on these stairs that's not a troll, but a troll-like creature. And I actually nicknamed this creature that we don't know what it is, the Greenville Troll. So it's not actually technically a troll, but it's a creature that's similar to a troll that resides in Greenville. And so this is a local cryptid that we've been trying to investigate, Dustin and I and Derek. So we haven't really quite found evidence, but we're still on the hunt, and we have some leads. We have some interviews kind of lined up to kind of investigate this creature. So it is a local one. So I do want to highlight that and put that on this list. And of course, the Wendigo is a classic.
Yeah, Wendigo, known from stories. It's very similar to Skinwalkers, which we knocked out in the beginning. But Wendigo is known as, or it's someone who basically tasted human flesh and has consumed so much human flesh that they've turned from man to monster, and now they roam the Pacific Northwest or a lot of other heavily forested regions, looking for more man flesh to eat and consume. I'm gonna personally pick the Wendigo on this. I think Wendigo again, classic cryptid. It sucks. I feel like we keep putting local favorites up against big name heavy hitters, and I feel like the bad guy. I feel like I'm the villain, the heel of this podcast, because I always want to pick the big top dogs, and I feel like I'm throwing my locals under the bus here. But yeah, Wendigo for me.
Well, and actually, I'm going to have to go Wendigo on this one, too. Believe it or not, I actually wrote my very first metal song about Wendigos, and this is unreleased. Hopefully, I'll release it within some months, but it's already written. I got a cool song going. But yeah, Wendigos, I love the lore. I love the history. Cannibal spirit. You can inhabit the body if anyone goes near it. That's kind of one of the lyrics for my songs. And there's a lot of cool stuff with the Wendigos, and I'll save that for the track. But that's why I got to go Wendigo. Dustin, you have any thoughts?
This is going to be the another rare occurrence where I'm the odd man out. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Greenville. Greenville Ghost Tours, our sponsor. It'd be awesome to see Greenville, the name Greenville, in that number one spot. So I was going to pick Greenville Troll, but obviously that is already a L.
All right, so we're moving on to the next round, and this is taking a while, so we're just gonna get into it. Maybe we'll move a little faster now that we've talked about each one of these. We got a Bigfoot versus Kraken, land versus sea.
I mean, as much as I love a sea and a Kraken, Bigfoot's got to be it for me. Bigfoot is gonna be the cryptid. He's got the walk, he's got the feet. He's known all around the world. There's so many types of Bigfoots. Always gonna be a Bigfoot vote on this guy.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go same with Derek Henderson. I mean, obviously, I love the Kraken being. Oh man, I can't do it. I'm an island guy. I'm a sea boy. I started to say it. Kraken for me.
Bigfoot is the OG. I think going Bigfoot investigations is something I have enjoyed doing, believe it or not. And we search for Bigfoot more than we do any other cryptid creature. So it is the OG. And I think Bigfoots are cool. And there's a lot of paranormal things in research going on with Bigfoots. Can these shapeshift? Can they are they interdimensional beings, perhaps? So I think Bigfoot is the answer here. And with that, we'll move on to our next one, which is the Jersey Devil versus the Wampus.
Yeah, I'm going to chime in here kind of right away. And being here in Greenville, where we have a bunch of people from Jersey kind of coming down here and moving in, they sometimes feel like the Jersey Devils. And so I'm going to say we need a little more Wampus around here. So I'm voting Wampus.
Yeah, and again, it's a local cryptid creature, head the size of a buffalo, a wolf-like creature, cyclops, one eye, spends its summers in Louisiana, spends the winters in South Carolina, and the Wampus Woods, a now defunct Halloween haunted attraction. Wampus is an easy choice for me, so it doesn't matter what Derek thinks. It is the Wampus moving on. But do you have any thoughts before we move on to our next?
I may surprise you, but I would actually go Wampus over a Jersey Devil. Something about a Cyclopsian wolf monster is a lot more appealing than a goat-headed lizard creature.
All in agreement there. Our next one is Giant Octopus versus the Beast of Bray.
I mean, I already know what I want to go here. I lost Kraken. It was a good defeat to Bigfoot. I was feeling kind of on the fence about that, but so I'm gonna have to give my sea creature another shot. Giant octopus for me.
And just because I've already forgotten what Beast of Bray is, and I know what an octopus is, I'm gonna go Giant Octopus as well. Giant Octopus is also my choice.
Yeah, this is a big dog versus a big octopus. I'm gonna have to go octopus on this one.
All right, so clean sweep. Maybe we're seeing a possible Final Four matchup. But moving on to our next one, we got the Thylacine versus the South Carolina Black Panther.
Ooh, that one's hard.
Yeah, two animals. I'm gonna have to go with the Tasmanian Devil or the Thylacine, just because it's more extinct than like just a Black Panther. It's just a little bit more of a cryptid.
This is a really interesting one because these are the two that we know exist. Because the Thylacine was in a zoo and people went and saw it, and then the South Carolina Black Panther, I've seen numerous sightings. So it's really, do I want to go with the local one or a far away one? So I'll listen to both of you guys and then choose. But I'm having a tough time.
I mean, Black Panther was one of the best Marvel movies on the recent stream or like run of Marvel movies. Chadwick Boseman is the South Carolina Black Panther. And so whether we're talking about cryptids or not, I got to go South Carolina Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman. We just, we got to bring it full circle back to the start of the podcast.
I'm
gonna go with, I like that.
Can I have can I have a moment to? I just would like to have a moment to make a rebuttal. I feel like thylacines, also known as Tasmanian devils, have two words for you. Looney Tunes. You remember that guy? He was the Tasmanian devil. Which one would you much rather run into? I mean, this is probably a trick question, because if you ran into Chadwick Boseman, it would be a ghost. So you'd probably prefer that. But if it was between him or the Tasmanian devil, what's more of a cryptid? What's more of what's a better cryptid than a man who's no longer with us? Or
two words for you there, Derek. Yeah. Wakanda forever.
Yeah, and I think you just your explanation actually made me more want to go towards South Carolina Black Panther, because he is a spirit that we could try to communicate with. So moving on, we have the Loch Ness Monster versus the Manananggal. This is a big one, the Loch Ness Monster versus Manananggal. I tried to have Ogopogo beat Loch Ness Monster, but now I'm going to try to have Manananggal beat the Loch Ness Monster, because Manananggals are really fucking cool. I mean, you got some female torso, a winged creature flying with her guts hanging out. How cool is that? And again, it's in my song, the Oogie Boogie Woogie. You can do the Manananggal march on your own. It's kind of like this. The Manananggal all day. What do you guys think?
I think if we're gonna go classic cryptids, we got to go with Nessie, Loch Ness Monster, one of the OGs, been around from the start. When you think cryptids, you think of the photographs of Bigfoot walking through the woods. You think of the videos of Loch Ness Monster swimming through wherever she lives, and you get to in Scotland, and you get to just understand, or you know. Sorry, I'm very passionate about the Loch Ness Monster winning this because I feel like overall it's more of a classic cryptid.
I'm getting mixed signals here, Derek, because you're knocking the cryptids that are just animals, and Loch Ness Monster is simply a plesiosaur. Like, we all know this. It's just another animal. And so, if I'm using the Derek Henderson logic, that I gotta go Manananggal because it's going to be the actual cryptid here versus just an animal. So,
But why
Manananggal
don't you
for
use
me.
this logic more often?
Well, I'm just listening
You're just
to you,
using
and
it to spite me now.
no,
It's just
no. I just, your philosophy is affecting me, and I'm just kind of like soaking it in. I'm
Okay.
starting to. I'm kind of coming
All
around.
right,
To
let's
Derek
move on to
Henderson.
what's the next one?
Yeah, Island Nation. There we go.
Our next one is the Owlman versus the Yeti. This is an interesting one. I'm going to have to think about it a little bit, so I'll get your guys' thoughts while I'm thinking. What do you think? Owlman, Yeti.
Yeti for me.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way. Yeti feels like a big win. I was always a fan of Bumbles in the Rudolph movie as a kid, and so yeah, Yeti.
I do really like the Yeti, and I do like Bumbles. That's a good one. But I don't know. Right now, I'm feeling Owlman for some reason. But it doesn't matter because you guys already chose it, so we'll go with Yeti. Moving on, our next one is the Mothman versus the Beast of Baltimore. And I think that's the cat, or is that the dog?
No, it is a larger black cat or like a leopard type creature.
Because I picked it because it would be more scary.
Think of like a cheetah but black. Yeah.
But this is going up against Mothman. This is easy, Mothman. So, a cat versus Mothman. It's Mothman. There's nothing else to say. It's Mothman.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be going against what I've been doing this whole time if I didn't go with Mothman. Obviously, Mothman is the. Who saw that coming? Mothman did because he can see the future.
Sorry, Beast of Baltimore, but we got the Mothman. And moving on to
got a cat. So.
Our last one of the round is the Lizardman versus the Wendigo, and these ones are two near and dear to my heart. So I'll let you guys speak while I think.
If you need a thing too, I can jump in here. With Greenville, as I study Greenville history, this was for the longest time. This was inhabited by the Cherokee and tribes that became known as Cherokee. So if we're going the most Greenville choice here, it is going to be something that is related to the First Nations, the First Peoples of the Americas. I'm going Wendigo.
I think the Wendigo is more common of a cryptid. It's more of a classic, well-known one. I think Lizardman can be so many different types of things, which kind of was why I chose it in the first round. But now that we're trying to narrow it down and get really to the heart of what a cryptid is, I'm gonna have to go with the Wendigo.
So Wendigo does move on, but I do want to talk about it a little bit. Lizardman is if it was which one are we going to go investigate? It would be Lizardman, because it's so close to us. It's local. It's something that we are going to do. We're going to go and investigate the Lizardman. But that's not what this is. This is the best one. Also, looking ahead to what could beat Mothman, Lizardman doesn't stand a chance, whereas Wendigo has a fighting chance. Wendigo is a classic, and I wrote a song about it. I'm going to go Wendigo as well. Clean sweep. So we are now down to our, what are we on, 8?
Yeah.
Elite eight. So let's get right into it. We got a Bigfoot versus Wampus.
I mean, it's Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's Bigfoot. All right, moving on. We got giant octopus versus South Carolina Black Panther. This one's a lot tougher.
Obviously, I think the giant octopus is the way to go. We lost the Kraken, but if we want to keep that kind of going, Giant octopus. Think about how good those movies' endings are that you've brought up multiple times. We got a giant octopus at the end of it.
Yeah. This is the movie one. We got so many movies have giant octopus, and you got sharktopuses, so I think you can kind of lump that into like a sharktopus is kind of a giant octopus, right? It's at least half octopus. But that's interesting. There's a lot of movies with octopuses, but then we're also talking about the Black Panther, which stars Chadwick Boseman, and there's the Wakanda Forever, which doesn't have Chadwick Boseman, but it lives on. And actually, I really liked Wakanda Forever because Chadwick Boseman died, but yet his spirit kind of lived on in the realm, and it's like a ghostly entity kind of Black Panther. So that's why Wakanda Forever was such good. And I was like, wow, you can keep continuing on this franchise with someone dead. And I think that more franchises, when their main character dies, they just continue on the franchise with a ghost spirit leading the way. So this is good. Kind of thinking Black Panther. What are you choosing, Derek?
I'm going with a giant octopus.
So it comes down to me, huh? Yeah, this isn't hard. I graduated from Anderson University. I teach at TL Hanna High School. Wakanda is forever. South Carolina Black Panther moves on.
So to be clear, it's no longer the cryptid cat of now the South Carolina Black Panther has been replaced with the ghost of Chadwick Boseman. That's what we're voting for here. It's
just the reason inside Dustin that he's choosing, but we're literally talking about the animal that is a Black Panther.
Okay.
That just so happens, but there's lots of them that live in South Carolina.
Right. Yeah.
And Chadwick Boseman, and he's a ghost, which is a cryptid. South Carolina Black Panther went extinct, just like the chestnut, both of which we're trying to bring back. It's our Carolina sports team. I mean, South Carolina Black Panther. It's the way to go.
Chestnuts are extinct.
The American chestnut in this part of the world,
like the vegetable.
Well, moving on to our next one, we got Manananggal versus Yeti. For me, it's easy. Manananggal, again, a winged creature that doesn't have any legs or guts are hanging out. It's flying around. It's from the Philippines, and there's a cool hit song that features it. It's easy for me. Yetis are just another Sasquatch, just in the winter time for snow.
They're not. You got all these famous pairs in history, right? You got Bonnie and Clyde. You got Mario and Luigi, right? You got Robin Hood and the Sheriff of Nottingham. Well, the Yeti is like the Luigi or the Sasquatch and Bigfoot's Mario. He's not just there as another one, but he's there to complement, to be another power up. The Yeti is the one you would get for the snow levels, where your Mario levels are going to be your Bigfoot. You know what I'm saying? You got to have different variations. You got to bring different sides to the same coin.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking what's coming down the pipe. Derek, you bring up a great point, and you're near and dear to my heart by calling a Yeti a Luigi. And I have to agree with Gabe that it is just kind of another Bigfoot. And Manananggal, it is so unique. It is so cool. And so I gotta go with Manananggal.
It's kind of like a ghost, right? It's a woman ghost, or is it a physical?
No, it's a physical.
It's like a physical. It's like a statue.
Thing. Yeah,
we can send you a picture. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is dope, and you can.
It's like a statue, or there's just you have a picture of a statue. They made a statue of one.
You can watch the instructional video for the Oogie Boogie Woogie, and there's actually a Manananggal in that video.
Right. No, I've seen that. Yeah.
This feels like a finals matchup.
It does feel like a finals matchup. It's like when Duke and North Carolina play each other early.
Well, I personally, I'm going to have to go with Mothman on this one. Mothman is near and dear to my heart. I have a Mothman onesie. I have a lot of just kind of love for Mothman and what it represents. It's there to protect the people. Wendigos are there to harm people, to eat people. So that's why I think Mothman is the winner in my book.
I'm gonna jump in here real quick because I have to go because I want to stress out Gabe and put a lot of pressure on him. I'm gonna go Wendigo because I do not want to have to make this decision, and so I'm going
It's
Wendigo and
Dustin.
making
I'm
Gabe
taking this super
babyface.
It's
seriously, but
Dustin. It's funny that you said that because I was gonna do Wendigo, just to make you have the pressure.
Yes.
so neither of you are taking this seriously.
I am taking it very seriously because I love these so much. I want to go investigate Mothman. There's so much more evidence. There's so many people I've talked to that have had moth experiences. Yet
Yeah.
the Wendigo is a cannibalistic creature, has antlers. You know, you go into the woods, you have this starvation, you have this hunger. There's nothing more scarier and more evil than a Wendigo. I mean, nothing terrifying. So if this was what's more terrifying, it's the Wendigo. If it's what do I not want to encounter, it's a Wendigo. If it's what do I not want to even investigate, it's a Wendigo. If it's what did Gabe write a song about, it's the Wendigo. But what? But Mothman's more famous, and Mothman has a statue, and Mothman we're going to investigate. And Mothman can fly. And what came first, the cocoon or the Mothman? There's a lot of questions. I'm really having a tough time with this. And I actually have a penny sitting on my desk. So heads, it's Wendigo, and tails, it is Mothman. And it's tails. So we're going to go Mothman. It's the classic. Sorry, Wendigo. All right.
It was a good pair up, but
We are down to our final four.
Man, it's a good final four. So do we want to recap real quick or we just jump into it?
You want to recap all of the matches, or do you want to just talk about who is in the final four?
I was just going to talk about who's in our final four.
Yeah, so our final four is Bigfoot, the South Carolina Black Panther, the Manananggal, and Mothman. And our first matchup is Bigfoot versus South Carolina Black Panther.
I feel like I don't need to say it. Obviously, I'm going to be going with Bigfoot for all the reasons I've listed throughout this entire episode. I feel like I'm going to lose here from what you guys have been doing, but you know what? Let's just see how it plays out. Bigfoot is my vote because I think Bigfoot is the king of the cryptids.
I'm struggling here, Gabe, a little bit. Obviously, being a history buff and loving the natural world, the Black Panther is truly a representation of the cryptids of the upstate and of South Carolina. It is a mascot of our community.
I'm not struggling at all. Do you want me to help you out?
What are you wanting?
We're doing Bigfoot. South Carolina Black Panther is a 7 seed, and it went to the final four. Eventually, some of these bigger seeds got to come and take the day. So unfortunately, as much as I love the South Carolina Black Panther, it is punched above its weight. A 7 seed making the final four in a 36 bracket, that's insane. Shout out to Chadwick Boseman, but Bigfoot is the OG. And again, Bigfoot feet. Do we call them big feet? They have possible supernatural abilities, possible shapeshift, possible Bigfoot ghosts can be found, possible Bigfoot interdimensional creatures. Lots of research been going into this stuff. So Bigfoot it is. But what were you going to say, Dustin?
No, that's great. That's great. Bigfoot's moving on. I was giving a shout out to the Carolina Panther, a mascot, a representative of cryptids here in upstate South Carolina.
Yeah, and our other final four matchup is Manananggal versus Mothman. And actually, I'm kind of regretting not having Wendigo in here. But nonetheless, this is our matchup, Manananggal versus Mothman. Unless you guys can let me renege and I'll put Wendigo in versus Manananggal.
I think, well, I was going to go ahead and vote for Mothman. So I don't think we should take Mothman out. Mothman's a personal favorite. I'm actually, I almost don't want Mothman to win this one because it's going to be so tough to choose. I just call Bigfoot the king of cryptids. And I kind of I don't know who I'd choose over these two, but Mothman is one again, personal favorite. So
This is a tough one. They're both flying creatures. But I think similar to Black Panther versus Bigfoot, at the end of the day, some of these big seeds got to come and knock off some of the seeds. The Manananggal punched above its weight. It kind of got there. I'm really excited and happy for Manananggal to make the Final Four. Who would have ever looked at this bracket and said Manananggal is going to the Final Four? This Philippines female winged creature. Who would have thought? It's a Cinderella story, the Manananggal. And I want to thank you for your service. Now, going back to the Mothman, I think if you'd let me to put the Wendigo back in, I think I'd go Wendigo. But if not, I'll have to go Mothman. So what are you thinking, Dustin?
Well, I wanted to go Manananggal just because of our association, the song that you wrote, the song that we worked on. I'm being the odd man out here, but since you guys both went with Mothman, Mothman moves on.
Well, that brings our final two to Bigfoot versus Mothman.
Kind of like King Kong versus Mothra, right?
100%. That is 100% what this is.
Oh, except if Mothra was jacked.
If I could bring Wendigo back in, I probably would go Wendigo over Bigfoot. But unfortunately, I think we're acknowledging the coin toss. So I think I have to go Bigfoot on this one. And Bigfoot is the OG, and it's more supernatural than Mothman.
Dustin, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, well, I won't take too much time because I know how much this means to you. And I know that with Gabe saying Bigfoot, that probably clinches the win. But I was also going to go Bigfoot just because his ties to Appalachia. Obviously, Mothman being from West Virginia also has ties to Appalachia, but Bigfoot kind of being the more widely known one. And you know what? Mothman saw that coming. He knew that I was going to make that choice. So.
Yeah, honestly, as much as I love Mothman, I do. Mothman is, I've been saying it this whole bracket. One of my top, Mothman's my boy. But think about how many Bigfoots and Big Feets we had to step on to get here, and he wouldn't be where he was if he wasn't so well known, so versatile, so many types of Bigfoots out there, so many different types of large ape humanoid-esque creatures that we can't quite get on film or pictured, but we know they're out there. There's so many. He's or she is, like Gabe was saying earlier, could be interdimensional. There could be Bigfoot spirits. We don't know, but that's what we're here to find out. And I think, I think we would be doing the cryptid community a disservice if we crowned anyone other than Bigfoot as the top of this bracket.
Yeah, and we're the searchers of truth, and there's nothing more to do that than searching for Bigfoot. So it's fitting. It's almost like we didn't even need to do the bracket. We could have just said, "Hey, it's Bigfoot," right?
Bigfoot, yeah.
But we did it.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, I actually tried to put shadow figures over Bigfoot, but you guys shot that down. So if I were to rank these, Bigfoot wouldn't be one. But I think as a collective, the Bigfoot is the mascot of the cryptids. I mean, it's the one with the most evidence. It's the one that's just widely available. People put bumper stickers of the car of Bigfoot. They also do it for Mothman. But like, there's just so many children that look up to Bigfoot. There's so many like people that their life and can be attributed to that of this creature that is so elusive. And so with that, it's fitting. It's just so fitting that Bigfoot win this.
Congratulations, Bigfoot.
Congratulations.
Well, and I think that ends our podcast. So, being here at the end, we do like to send it off. When I'll say the truth is paranormal, and if you could, Derek, say be a searcher. So with that, the truth is paranormal.
Be a searcher.
Be a searcher, y'all. That's it. That's all we got for today's episode. Thank you for joining us. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to follow us on social media at Truth Searchers. See you next time.